gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Paranormal Bus Stop, where we talk about all things paranormal in a round table format, featuring Ashley Storm, Cynthia Gerolius, Shay Carroll, and myself, Darren Buff. Welcome to the show. Let's have some fun. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August edition of the Paranormal Bus Stop. And tonight we have a special guest host with us. So to start with our other hosts again, we have Cynthia Gerolius, Ashley Storm, and our special co-host tonight is Mr. Daniel Klaes. So how is everybody doing tonight?
What?
Oh, did the show start?
Yeah. But I'm sharing
Now
that.
you all froze on me. Come on, what the heck?
No, I said wet. It's raining like a motherfucker here. I just got home. That's why I was late, running through a storm, trying to get back in.
Just a due note here that we usually have Shay on the show tonight, but she's feeling under the weather, so this is what you got to deal with tonight. So
Sorry.
And you love it, you know it.
So is everybody having a good week so far? Good start to it, at least?
Busy week so far, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I said define good.
Yeah, it's only been Monday, and I mean, busy's not always good. It's been
Yeah, that's
hectic with bad things all day long, just one after the other. But this is why I love doing it on Mondays, because Mondays are usually crappy. So no matter what, we get to party and have fun with our friends on a Monday.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
More
So
work.
tonight's episode is we're going to be doing a deep dive into spirit talk here. And I got a list of questions that I go through. Like y'all guys all know, I go through my list. And let's see what comes out of tonight's discussion. For those of you in chat, please join in, give your comments out. If you have any questions, please fire them away. And let's get started.
My bad, I was trying to put my phone on silent. And
I have Madonna playing in the background. Is that all right? Very lightly?
Is that what it was playing? Somebody
Yeah.
had music like really low, but that's why I was doing that, because
I can't even hear it.
I was dancing. Yeah. You were listening to Madonna? Is that your hype music?
Right now it's Madonna, but it was Samantha Fox. Good old Samantha Fox.
Oh, he's got the 80s going.
Who's that? Who the hell is Samantha Fox?
Google it.
Darren. Oh, Dan.
Hey, you're talking to a Journey in Boston guy here.
Yeah, same era.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, it's kind of the same,
Yeah.
same. It's just females, you know?
I guess I just didn't
Darren.
really.
Damn, Darren.
Uh,
I'm going to tell your wife.
well, you do that. You do that. But then again, Madonna's her favorite too. So
Probably going to hear a whole bunch of animals because for some reason, once I start going on a live show or whatever, my animals decide, oh, we're going to bug the heck out of Mom tonight. So, yeah,
Yeah.
don't be surprised.
my kids upstairs, my cats are upstairs, so we're all good here.
I'm locked in the
Okay.
closet, so I'm fine.
Sorry.
Quiet over there.
I'm just getting in the groove. I was like racing here. I was like, what, 2 minutes? I made it in time, 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I ran from an office to a basketball game to McDonald's for my daughter and home within an hour.
Ooh, you are like
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I can't be that fast.
I was like praying at McDonald's there wasn't a long line.
Yeah.
You know,
I ate my grilled
they
chicken
don't-
that I made.
Do you always grill on Sundays? Like, I know this is totally off topic, but I wanted to ask you the other day, and now that I have you face to face, I'm just going to ask you now. Do you always grill on Sundays? Because it's like your off day in between your crazy schedules? Because of you're having to be up at like 3 a.m. in an ungodly hour?
Well, a lot of times I like to grill on weekends. It's just because I don't have to rush. Because usually when I get home, it's nap time for a little bit.
Okay, now speaking of spirits grilling, then we're going to start talking about it since nobody's asked questions yet. I'm going to get the ball rolling with you and what's going to happen to you at Malvern Manor when you're blindfolded. So let's get
I'm already half blind, so what's the difference?
Well, here's the thing. That's what I'm going to play off of this, okay, to your camp. So I've always been very interested in when we have deaf investigators. We've had a few deaf investigators come through the asylum.
Okay.
I've never met a blind investigator. But the fact that our senses are more heightened when one of them is taken away, the difference in how we perceive energies and what we obviously hear or see, but if they get the same sensations that we do physically, being around them. Now with you being kind of blind, the being completely blindfolded, or when we do what they call, oh my God, I can't even think of it right now because I was thinking about it too hard. The Estes methods, when they blind, took away all your senses, do the things.
Right.
Oh,
When we
about
leave
the
ourselves,
Is that what you're doing, the Estes?
I don't
No,
know.
I'll be sitting in a room with a bunch of dolls, blindfolded.
I'm just saying when we do things to take away our senses, does that make us more, because I'm curious of how you're going into this thinking, do you think it makes you more vulnerable than when you don't have all of your senses about you?
Not really. It does. I don't feel more vulnerable. It's just because I usually, because I have a really good sense of smell and a good sense of hearing, so it's just kind of, it plays off of that a little bit. So then it's like when my sight's taken away, you rely on that, and you rely on touch. You rely, if something is touching you or stuff like that. Same thing when it goes for shadow people. I can't really see them that easy. So I got to rely on my senses, and I feel like something's really close to me. So that's how that usually works for me, and that's how I go in about it.
Yeah,
So it's not really all that scary to me if I'm blindfolded.
I think it would be different individually per person, depending on like where you're at, what the scare what's the scare factor of the location.
What you're taking away from yourself.
Yeah, like don't put me in a blindfold in Broken Bow Asylum in the old church area. Like hell no. Like I'm not gonna sit there with a blindfold on for like 2 hours in like deprivation chamber or whatever. Like that'd be crazy. I mean, you're asking for it. So you're going into the doll room,
right?
And are you looking? What are you looking to accomplish from this? Are you looking to make something happen? Like, do you want something physical to happen to you, or what are you looking to happen there?
I don't know really. It's one of those challenges that.
So it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, yes, because I generally I hate dolls. I hate dolls generally. I would punt them as far as I can punt them. But these are all porcelain dolls that have been around for ages. And so with them, I'm not sure. If something happens to come up and touch me or something moves, I hear something jingle off the doll, then it's...
Look. That's freaky. That's going to freak you out if you can't look, right?
No, it won't freak me out.
He can't really see anyway.
I know, but if
I think that's
if he's alone in a room and all of a sudden you start hearing like footsteps or like a jingle, dude, I'm gonna be a little freaked out. I'm gonna be like, I gotta peek. What the hell's going on? I hope you're gonna have cameras on you.
Yeah, there's gonna be cameras on me. They're all gonna be watching it and stuff. And And it's just more of, and I'll be isolated for about a half hour. So it's not going to be a long time unless I choose to be a little bit longer and say, hey, give me some more time because maybe I might have a little fun with it,
Half hour is probably not going to cut it. I think you need to do at least an hour.
Yeah, we got what 14 hours to do the investigation, so we could do that.
Feel, I mean,
right.
The longer you do it, the more prone you are to probably get some type of reaction.
Maybe. I mean, I'm gonna ask to have a REM pod inside there, so if I hear that go off, then I know that goes off. Stuff like that. I'll think of some ideas what I'm gonna put in there. But you also got to remember too, later that night, I'm gonna be stuck up in the attic and sleeping in the attic
by himself.
By myself.
Is there air conditioning up there?
I have no idea.
No.
So we'll see how warm it gets. If it gets too warm, and see how long you can bear it.
How hot is it getting up there right now?
I mean,
it's now middle of summer, so Melbourne in the middle of summer in the attic, you are looking at probably, if it is 80-something degrees outside, you're looking probably at around 90 degrees inside. It's at least 10 to 15 degrees hotter.
Yeah. So we'll play it here how that goes.
Yeah.
Bring one of those Japanese fans, so you have air to blow.
Oh yeah. But
I want to show you, Darren.
But I have a lot of projects that I'm going to be bringing along with me. So try some new toys.
Yeah.
So
I know the people on the radio can't see this, but yeah, Darren decided to send one of his new toys to my house.
Oh my God! What do you? Oh, they can't see it. Thank God.
That's really big.
Yeah. Wow, that is a big toy.
And look at the shape of that thing.
Check this puppy out.
Oh my God! I'd hate to be the one that has to.
AC power.
Yeah.
Now, does that plug mean you can charge it, or does that feel like the vibrational field, or what is that?
Other accessories.
Yeah, other accessories.
I mean, well.
Oh shit! I'm already tearing up.
You considered this part of it since it is like ribbed for their pleasure,
Yeah. I mean, I like the color scheme. I mean, the white. And the black.
It's got a blue tinge to it.
It's probably going to be electrifying.
It'll be electrifying. Let me tell you.
Ashley died. She's gonna start snorting here pretty soon.
Hopefully, it allows you to reach the climax of what you need to achieve in the end.
We'll know if it explodes.
I haven't tried it out yet. I'll let you know about that, Dan.
All right, why don't you tell them what it really is, so they don't know.
It won't rain. I can tell you that.
It's a Tesla coil. What is it, Darren?
We got to bring Ashley down a couple levels here because she's about to.
Bluetooth.
She's about to
my mic. Oh my God, you guys are killing me.
It's even Bluetooth, Ashley.
What it is it's a Tesla coil. And it provides like a static electric shock. That basically you turn it up, and if you stick your hand over the top of it, it's kind of like a plasma ball where the shock will gravitate to your hands. So, and my theory is, if our hands go over top of it and it stretches out the lightning bolt, then
stretching out something, buddy.
That a spirit will can do the same thing. And
we got to snort, everybody. We got to snort.
So.
These poor people don't understand. Like, we're really not talking about sex toys. I feel so bad for the people who listen to us. We get like so. I'm so sorry, y'all. But happy Monday, motherfuckers. With us.
I bet you Shay's just dying in her room.
Yes, I'm so glad that she didn't get this after the Sesame Street 50 Shades of Grey thing. I mean, this is kind of mild, but.
So that is my theory. And now, Dan, you played with the Tesla coil, but on a bigger scale. And Ohio, didn't you?
Many different sized Tesla coils, actually. And each one's garnered different results.
I bet they do.
So now the smaller Tesla coil, now we used in front of a whole group of people. I mean, so
No, okay, I don't think we can talk about this.
What do you mean? I was going to tell you about how I charged stones with it.
See, Ashley, now who's crying first?
Me. I'm muting myself, Daniel. Continue. I can't.
Oh, shit. And that's a wrap. No, just kidding. Oh, I hope the audience is really enjoying this.
I love how he can do this with a straight face. I mean, I wish people could see this because Dan is just deadpan straight.
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah.
I can just keep going, like I can keep a straight face. That's why
People
can't tell.
We got into this when we told you to Google what cornflakes were used for.
Oh, boy, we're going down that rabbit hole.
Oh, no.
So, in all seriousness, the Tesla
let's
coil,
be serious.
The size of the Tesla coil that you have,
it's a desktop.
Yeah, it's a desktop version, but you can definitely utilize that in many different ways.
Correct. It's along the base side. It has an EMF that just really expands the field.
I also attached a copper coil to that, to the copper coil, right? So you can attach things to the coil because there's energy going through that, and I wrapped it around pieces of different types of rocks like quartz and granite and different types of things, and to see what rocks could actually hold a charge, and the quartz actually worked really well. Like after an hour, it was still having EMF spikes out of the quartz. So
now, do you think it changes the environment a whole lot more?
Yes.
So it doesn't piss off the spirits?
No, I don't think it pisses off the spirits. I think theoretically it gives the spirits energy that because they're always sucking energy out of our batteries. Why not give them the energy that they need to communicate with us better in ways that they normally couldn't?
Right.
So.
Okay.
That's why I use Tesla's "If you want to discover the secrets of the universe in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration" as like our slogan thing, because it's nothing but pure energy, and he made it for high voltage, high frequency, like just alternating the currents around us.
Right.
And he was very big into spiritualism, into aliens and other life forms and things like that. So I think to a certain extent we'll never know like if he actually just made that because he had that thought process of I'm going to give them energy so I can kind of talk to them a little bit more. He died entirely too early, and what they did with his work after he died was very sketchy. But I use I've told you guys this before, the flashlights. I bought a batch of those like 30 little camping mini flashlights, and I have all of those running in a room wherever we're going and have it in a backpack so I can just move it room to room. And like if you guys need energy, pull it from these.
Right.
Don't use our stuff and use that because the Tesla coil had two of them.
Are they twist or do you gotta push a button?
The button. Boop.
Okay, good.
But I bought them like really cheap off of Wish. So
oh, there you go.
I mean,
they'll last about half a day.
That's fine. Have you had people use them inside of Hinsdale?
Oh yeah.
Aside from yourself?
Not that I'm aware of. I've used it a couple times there, and I did an experiment with Casey Colburn. She's actually the one that came up with the idea to do the rocks, and I was like, I don't know if I'm sure other people have probably thought of it as well, but it was the first time that I've ever experimented with it that way, and I was very, very excited about the fact that they were holding a charge like a battery, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel a difference in because from what I've heard, Hinsdale's already pretty.
Yeah, so I mean, we used
it, or not necessarily in your face.
We used it outside.
Strong. Okay.
So we set it up out in the outside. by the driveway, you know, not everything. And I've also used it on the inside as well. But like you said with Hinsdale, it's already in your face. The day that I used it, though, is the day that I feel like Bernice Golden came through and spoke with me over the spirit box. And I was I couldn't go. It was hard for me to even go on because she was such a good friend to me. You know, I used to do the podcast with her, and she's no longer with us. She's in spirit form now. And she always said she would come to the Hinsdale house. It's something she always wanted to do, even in the wheelchair, you know, up till the end of her days. And I've had communication with her, and I've had other psychics come up to me and tell me that there's this lady coming through, and I feel like that using it that day allowed for the additional energy needed for her to come through. Mm-hmm. And it was. I mean, she even gave me an F-bomb, so it was like, that's her, you know.
So you feel everything, it draws it out a little bit more, if anything else.
Yeah, you can smell it. You can smell the ions in the air. I mean, right. Like when you run that for a few minutes, you're smelling the electrification in the air.
You can also physically feel it yourself to a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I mean, I also bring a plasma ball along with me too. So see how.
Now, when I was in Detroit a few weeks ago, we were using a really big Tesla coil, and my God, this thing shot out lightning bolts. It was huge.
Yeah, it was. I saw that one.
My friend Rosa was there, and I know she's listening right now, so I'm giving her a shout out. But I mean, it electric that thing. My God, I want to be able to use that again, or get one or build one, because we were in the drunk tank, you know. Theoretically not a high frequented area of spirits. It was right next to all the cells, and we were getting some amazing communication after that. Mm-hmm. You know, it was very, very amazing communications, knocking noises, like physical altercations of the energies that were in the old 6th precinct. And I think that had a lot to do with it. Besides for being an amazing spectacle at an event with people at it. People were just like looking at it like, oh my God, you know, like thing's crazy, you know.
Well, that sucker's loud too.
Oh my God, it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
that
gotta bring hearing protection.
Into what I was going to ask you next is, you use it in Hinsdale because you know that there's nothing. You know, I know that you're on the same page as this. There are certain locations that you can't go in with the same tactics you would go in anywhere else. You know, you have to be more mindful because there is not necessarily something evil, but sometimes the spirits or energies are just a little bit more aggressive with people.
Right.
So do you think it's a good idea to use them no matter where we are to get the responses that we're looking for? Or do you think we should be more careful about where we're trying to give that much energy to?
I mean, I think just as you do with any investigation, you know, you have to try to come up with a plan of attack of what you're going to do to try to get the responses that you're garnering. And if something's not working, you can always call an audible, you know, like I think you know, you have to be able to change it up if it's not working, or try a different scheme and see what you get, you know.
Okay, Let me phrase it this way. If somebody used a Tesla coil in the church part of the asylum, would you say that would be okay? Would you want what's in there to have more energy to come through and speak with you?
No.
That's what I was trying to get at. Depending on the location, should we be more careful about what we're feeding that much energy to? You know what I'm saying? Like, being aware of not just going in for the first time investigating in a place, you know what I'm saying, and using it, because you don't know what you're feeding that energy to. That's my biggest thing. You never know what you're trying to give energy to, and everything feeds off of it. So when you bring it in, everything can get a piece of it.
See, that's where I was coming up with, where I was saying before, is now would it piss off a spirit more? Or potentially, you know, I was talking to Chris Nielsen, and he said if it's a lot higher voltage, it might even in fact hurt the spirit.
That's interesting.
It's very it's thought provoking, you know. Like, could it potentially hurt a spirit?
Disrupt their energy.
Yeah.
So we'll find out this weekend, see how that goes.
Who asked that?
Chris Nielsen. Traveler's Moon.
Very nice. Huh.
Yep.
Now my curiosity is piqued.
Send him a text. He'll talk to you. Huh. Get ready for a long discussion, though.
Down to clown.
All
Very
right.
interesting.
So let's get back on track here, guys.
Every time
We had our squirrel moment here.
Every time I'm on the show, it seems like we never get through your question list.
There's 14 of these, and I only picked out 5, so I bet you we'll get through 3.
Well, if you're only looking for 5, we could probably do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably.
that's why we decided to do it over on my show, because I said
Yep.
the same exact thing. We never get through our questions, so my show can just be you and the 20 other textbooks you have full of questions that you never got to. We'll just do that on my show. He's going to give me the questions, we're just going to go through them. Bam, bam, bam.
We'll see. All right, so question number 1 is, so what really puts a spirit together and gives it its path in the afterlife? So what really puts it together?
I need to hear Cynthia's voice.
I also need you to repeat that question you cut out when you sent that, please and thank you.
The puzzle.
Okay. All right, so what I'm asking is, what really puts a spirit together and gives it its path through the afterlife?
Okay.
Whoever wants to start.
Put me on the spot first.
Well, you're a spiritual warrior. I mean, you'll know. I mean, you got to have some feeling on this.
Yeah, I think what puts a spirit together, spirits are the same thing as we all are. I mean, we're all energy. It's just that the spirit's energy is freed up from a corporeal form to a form where it can transport itself or travel or however you want to put it, wherever it wants to go. It's not bound to one certain spot. What gives it its path?
Yeah, it's direction, like where it wants to go. Or is it unlimited list where it could go wherever it wants to go, free roam?
Truthfully, I think it's limitless. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with what they accomplished when they were in fleshy form, as Kelly McCarville puts it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always a divine plan. There's always a divine design, whether you believe in Christianity, whether you believe in Buddhism, whether you believe, whatever religion you follow. There's always a divine design, and there's always a divine collective that has. Sorry, my dog is in front of me. That has a I don't want to say a plan because it's not a set plan, but it's got like a guidelines type thing to kind of help you along with it. And so to put it as an example, like, okay, with Roland, and I would think that, and this is my opinion, I would think that with him being the way he was in life, he was this outgoing, gregarious, just awesome person to be around, awesome person to talk to, which would make me think that in the afterlife he would go more towards a path of helping a person through, and being that guardian spirit, being that guardian angel, being that, whatever you want to call it, the spirit guide type thing, and helping a person get through whatever problem they're facing. The other thing I can see is I can see him right now having the opportunity to get whatever questions he wants answered. So he's also going to be on that path of knowledge. He is going to be wanting to learn anything and everything there is, aside from the fact that 42 is the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's really hard to see.
Sum it up in one sentence, Cynthia. One sentence. No, I'm just kidding.
In one sentence? Yeah, that's not possible for me.
I totally agree with you, though.
Yeah, they're put together with energy, and their path is never is never a set path. You know, their path is basically, in human terms, whatever they choose to do. You know, whatever they feel like they're led to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this.
Oh, Dan,
can I throw in a what if?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if their path in human fleshy form was a child molester and a pervert, and they die, and they want to continue that path? Do you think that's possible, or do you think something else happens to the negative energies that pass over? Because I mean, there are definitely some negative energies that we encounter, but I don't feel like we have an abundance of child molesters. I don't feel like we have like do you think that there's a power or something that oversees everybody that dies that says, no, you're not free to roam?
Yeah.
Same thing with murderers.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I went with the divine presence there, the divine collective. Because I totally can see where Kelly McCarville comes from when she says, you know, you go through a transition period where they show you, you know, how nasty your life was and how bad you actually were, and, you know, or how good you actually were, and give you a chance to make up for that, as per se, quote unquote.
By being reborn?
Given a second chance in life?
Reincarnation. Oh, I totally believe in reincarnation.
Yeah, no, this is what I was going to ask, because when I've talked to other people who had near-death experiences, every single one of us has seen like that light thing, but it's not really a light. It's more of like a heat source that's just really bright. I don't know how to describe it without sounding absolutely fucking nuts, but it's a light nonetheless. Okay, and for people who have crossed over fully, not people who have had near-death experiences, for the people who have crossed over, when they see that light that they're supposed to go towards, I feel like that light is something that like refilters our energy, because energy has to go somewhere. It doesn't just, when we die, our energy doesn't just die with us, our fleshy form, you know. It like kind of recycles us through things. But I think that's why we have so many encounters in places that were asylums, hospitals, penitentiaries, places with not necessarily bad people, but people with pasts that weren't exactly so bright and beautiful and colorful.
Right.
And we run into them because I think they're afraid of that light, because regardless of whatever religion you grow up in, you've always heard that, you know, you're going to be judged at the end for what you do. And so when you finally do die and you see that light, I think that freaks people out, so they decide to stay on this plane or dimension. I think it's like multiple sheets of a universe more than anything, and that divine power that you're talking about is like the energy that created us all, but it doesn't have like an exact name.
Right, exactly.
Like, that's just how I think of it.
I totally agree with that, because I can't in good conscience sit there and say, well, like you were talking about the near-death experience, and I can't in good conscience exactly say that, you know, when a person passes through that light or that energy source, you know, that all of their negativity is wiped out or whatever.
Exactly.
You know.
That's why I don't like crossing people over. I don't like crossing people over, because we don't know where we're sending them. For you to sit there and promise someone that it's going to be okay and it's going to be better, like we're sending you to a better place, we're helping you get peace, we don't know where we're sending them. We don't know what's on the other side, that light that we tell them to go to, or passing them over and crossing them over. We don't know where we're sending them. I feel like that's very irresponsible when we do it, honestly, because like you have no idea. You could be sending them to a fate that's worse than what they're living right now, and maybe some of them deserve it.
What if
but you're promising someone
our energies?
I'm sorry.
What if the light is like an alien beam coming down, and they want to harness that energy, and we're going to that light?
I'd gladly go to that light.
Well, wouldn't you?
That would be interesting. But no, I'm sorry. I giggled because all I can think of when she says, you know, crossing people over and sending them into the light is poltergeist.
Yeah, exactly. But so many people
Madame
do
Golda.
We have so many people, especially like the YouTube paranormal investigators now, that are like, they went into a location like, we crossed over 30 spirits. And I'm like, but Okay. There's just so many things. I have so many questions about that, but I'm not going to ask them because I don't even have time for it. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of, you can't promise someone that you're sending them to a better place when you have no idea what that place is.
Exactly. When you've never been there, when you don't know where they're going.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Dan, any more thoughts on this, or do you want to move on to the next question?
Let's move on to the next question. I think that was very insightful.
Yes, it was.
Definitely.
So my next question is what we were talking about before with murderers and so forth. Question number 4, and this I'll give this to Dan here. How come we don't see spirits that are criminals, murderers from past lives, or wild west people, medieval or Bible people? Figures, I should say.
Why don't we? I mean,
why don't we see these figures? How come we don't see a Bible figure?
A Bible figure?
Yeah, like a Bible figure, like
first and
Peter,
foremost,
Paul.
How many of us have investigated in Israel and in other parts of the world? I mean, we're talking about a country that's not that old.
Yeah.
And Jerusalem in that area too.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of Native American, which they ruled this continent before we got here, and I've gotten a lot of 1800s, 1700s era people. Unless I can, it's on my to-do list. Get over on the other side of the pond and investigate, because that's where you're going to get more of that, I would believe, than what we have here.
Kind of like Ireland for the medieval times, kind of.
Sure.
Yeah, it's all location.
Yeah.
And also have
murderers and criminals. You see that more in the prison cells and jails.
Yeah, I've encountered criminals. I've encountered bastard spirits, at locations, and they don't have any power over me.
Right.
And the Wild West ones, people encounter that all the time in the areas in Tombstone and Nevada where they have the old towns. It's some crazy T word. It's a city in bumfuck nowhere, Texas, on the border of Mexico, kind of almost. And it's one of the oldest ghost oldest towns. I'm sorry?
Brownsville.
No, it starts with a T.
Oh.
It's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to look it up while I finish talking about it. But they have instances there all the time where they see men in the old cowboy get up, and they hear the jangling of the boots and the spurs and stuff. And then Ballinger, same thing. All night on hardwood floors, it's very distinct sounds that footprints make, or footsteps at least. And boots, I live in Texas, I know the sound of boots on a hardwood floor. It's a very distinct sound. And there was absolutely nobody else in the building except for Connie, and she was downstairs in her room watching TV. And while we have the camera rolling in the hallway all night, because it was a brothel, you would just hear, and it started a little bit after 11, you just heard the footsteps of boots coming up and down, and they opened in the late 1800s, I believe. But still,
that makes more sense.
So we do encounter them. I think it's just more than anything, we don't look for them as much,
Yeah.
Like he said, it's hard to get access to places where you can encounter those other types of spirits, like the medieval type of things you're talking about.
I wonder if anybody's ever captured an EVP in the afterlife from a brothel of spirits having sexual encounters.
Good question.
Yeah.
I've never.
I haven't.
You think they're still banging?
I investigated a brothel once.
I don't know. So my question for you, Darren, is to add to that then.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Why is it that we see the places that we go, we tend to see more of the 1700s, 1800s, earlier era spirits? Why don't we see more of the recently passed? Not two days ago recently passed. But, you know.
Well, like 10 years, 15 years past, kind of like that.
Yeah, 80s, 90s.
Well, I just think that they just haven't found their way where they want to be and want to expose themselves to us, you know. And that's why the 17 and 1800s are willing to do that, because I think they have a lot more to say than sort of what a 10 or 15-year-old spirit has to say. They've gone through a lot. It's their time. I think you got to give a spirit a lot more than 10, 15 years to figure out what they want to do and what they want to talk, who they want to talk to.
Okay.
Can I put my 2 cents in on that?
Of
Sure.
course.
Like my personal opinion, and from the investigations that I've done and all the years that I've done investigations, I feel like the recently departed don't have the knowledge or the who about to actually manifest yet. So that's why we're seeing a lot of shadow figures. We've had, for instances, where we've seen a shadow figure and got up close to it, and you can see the face of a nearly departed person, but they're coming through as a shadow person because they don't know how to fully manifest yet.
Got it.
And it just takes time for them to learn how to do that and how to harness that energy. That's
Right.
Sometimes you'll see like partial manifestation. Sometimes you'll see like just a shadow, and that's maybe how it comes across. I mean, but that's just a theory. You know, I don't know if that will.
Well, you know, we could test out that Tesla coil and see if that does.
Because I've always kind of partially. So when I've always been obsessed with Beetlejuice. I always think that's partly kind of like
Beetlejuice.
One, I totally believe in what Dan said. I think that it might take them. We don't know how long it takes them to build up enough energy on that side to break through to our side to communicate. But I think like they also have to go through a learning period almost, and how this is so weird. So you know how time is different on the other side in Beetlejuice? I totally feel like that's the case. Like when somebody dies, their energy goes like to that place, and then maybe it's just like a gap in between when they show themselves, because they don't realize they've been away for that long, lurking in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? Like they think maybe it's just been like 3 or 4 days that they've been stuck here feeling this way, but they've really been there for like 200 years before they finally.
I'm sure time is way different.
You know? I mean, it's just so cool. But that's why we do it, because we don't.
I mean,
know,
that's how it is up in space. How time is up in space. It's way different for astronauts.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can compare that with the spirit and how much time they've been gone, and compared to where it is now. All right, that was a good one. All right, so question number 5. We'll go with Cynthia on this one.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So now we're going to get back to as for crossing over stuff. So why is it that we cross over spirits, and why we shouldn't cross over spirits, and what are the consequences when we do so?
Well, to go back into what we were talking about just a little bit ago, it's number 1, you should never cross over a spirit unless it is asking to be helped. Number 2, because what Ashley said makes perfect sense. None of us know where we're going to send them. You can have the best of intentions to help cross a spirit over to, you know, the Elysium Fields or wherever, and you could send them straight down the portals of hell, and you wouldn't know it.
Yep.
You know?
Regardless if someone deserves it, I'm not trying to be the one responsible of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not.
And then, so that's kind of why we shouldn't cross them over, because we don't know where they're going and where we're sending them. And then the consequences in doing such a thing is, you know, number 1, if you're crossing spirits over from a location, like the Hinsdale house, for instance, you know, if you're crossing spirits over from the Hinsdale house and Daniel has not asked for you to cross spirits over, has not requested help, is fine with the way things are going, what gives you that right?
Well, there's also another side of the coin, too. So there are spirits that were supposedly crossed over, but then they are, during another investigation, they come through again. do you feel like spirits, even if they are crossed over, may have the ability to come and go as they please?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's like really like intent. I think like as far as like who and what, are there spirits that are maybe lost, or maybe they suffered a horrid death and are like, maybe lost trying to find their parents or if they're children, like I encountered that in the house I grew up in, and it was like a lifelong investigation for me. And at the end of it, I felt like they crossed over when I found a picture that they were attached to, because it died down when I found the picture. You know what I mean? Like, not that it was bad or anything, but I mean, it died down. But then every now and then, if I would acknowledge them or mention that, it would seem like they would come back just to like, hey, we're still here, we're doing good type of thing, just checking in with you, type of thing,
Right.
So.
No, I totally agree that I don't think that, like I said, I don't think spirits are tied down to anything. I do believe that they have the ability to come and go as they please, or go wherever they please. But so that would be one of the things of.
How do you think they get from point A to point B?
Teleportation.
Yeah, portals.
Yeah.
I don't like to think of it as portals as much as a dimensional sheet adjacent to us. Like, what we are living in currently as the fabric of our time is like, I truly believe there's like a veil of some sort that they can cross. We're seeing things like
you can feel it.
We see when you go into certain places, you definitely feel like there's a wall because it's nothing but pure concentrated death in some of these, in most of the places that you encounter that. But I also think there's different levels of being a spirit. I feel like I categorize them as spirits and ghosts. Spirits to me are the ones that have died, crossed over, did whatever they needed to do, what we call crossing over, or passed with peace and went into whatever light, whatever you want to call it. And they choose to come back to interact with their loved ones, or it's not necessarily unfinished business, it's just because they want to be here with us. And then there are ghosts, the ones that did not go into the light, the ones that didn't get to finish things and are stuck like still in our plane with that human energy attached to them rather than being a pure energy form because they've completely passed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just want a quick note that Shay has joined us. Shay, what is your thoughts on this?
Exactly what Ashley said. That's how I differentiate, like in my mind, the difference between the two. And I actually didn't hear the question because I was 30 seconds behind, but I agree with what everybody's saying without knowing what the question was. So
that's about crossing over spirits and what the consequences are.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that in chat.
We?
Yep. So
since that we have you here, is there any questions in chat?
No, we're just answering questions that you were already talking about. There was one earlier from Rosa. I think she was asking Dan about the Tesla coil time period in that conversation. If anybody's ever gotten hurt during an investigation, I think she meant using one. I'm not sure.
I mean, not the few times that I've used them.
Okay.
I've only been in an investigation once with the Tesla coil, and that was one of the smaller ones that spins.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter had one of those.
Those still put off some good energy, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does. We had it in the Squirrel Cage jail, and we were up in the warden's apartment in the bedroom, and he had that going. And, I mean, you can definitely feel the electricity and the energy that it puts off. But nobody's ever gotten hurt from that one anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, next question we got here. Dan, this is one for you.
Okay.
So how come when we go ghost hunting and we see a full body apparition, where it's either transparent or it's just like they never died and are just, you can see them just like we are. Why does it happen?
I feel it all has to do with the amount of energy that they're harnessing in order to manifest. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time. How many times have you been in an investigation and seen a full body apparition like that?
Not yet. Not once.
Yet. Not once. So, I mean, it's you have to think about the amount of energy that it takes just to do a partial manifestation. So to get a full body apparition, I mean, that's crazy amount of energy that's being used. So I would have to think about like what the location is, where they're drawing their energy from, how they're able to do that. You know, like there's a lot of underlying issues that would have to be looked at as far as why that would be occurring at whatever location you're speaking of. Now we've had it at the Hinsdale house where people have captured full body apparitions on pictures and whatnot. But I've never seen one with my eyes, the full body apparition, just shadow figure.
I have a photo out on the Queen Mary of what looks like to be it would be like a chambermaid or a housekeeper. She's got the Victorian era black and white maid's outfit on. And it's her standing beside a closet door. But I did not see her when I took the picture.
I got one picture, only picture I've ever got where I was like, what is this? Was on USS Salem. So it's funny, yours is on the Queen Mary. Mine was, they were standing behind the staircase. If it was a person, whatever it was, but it looks like somebody standing there and you see the silhouette of the head and the arm, the shoulder, like, so still to this day that I have no idea what it was.
Yeah, Roland got a picture in Edinburgh Manor of a little girl standing beside a doorway. And again, not seen with the human eye.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I would love to see is a full body apparition.
What about Gettysburg? I mean, Gettysburg has got that big battle of, just nothing but.
I've captured a full body apparition in Gettysburg on the battlefield doing a walking tour with a group.
I mean,
I'm not laughing at you.
Tremendous amount of energy.
It is.
It is.
I mean, but the battlefield. I mean, you got so much blood soaked into that soil, so much energy like there. It's a crazy feeling when you're there. Just to feel it.
I only chuckled. I didn't mean to laugh at you. I was just remembering we got a picture of something in Gettysburg, but we tossed it aside because it was far away, and we didn't see Army people because they do the reenactments there at the time. But I'm like, there's no way that this is actual spirits standing way back in this field, even though we were there for a long time and didn't see them, so we just tossed it away. So I wish I had taken a bunch of pictures of the same spot, because I was just getting scenery. So, that's awesome that you got it.
What's up, Ash?
If you come to the asylum, I'll show you an apparition.
Ooh, baby.
Sounds like a road trip.
No one invited you, Darren.
I'll be there in spirit.
I'll get there soon. I'm bummed I don't get to see Dan next week as it is.
Right. We all need to just do something next year when all this shit calms down. But we have so many people. One of my favorite stories is this group of women who run paranormal events. And collectively, it's a mother and daughter team, and they've been investigating for almost 40 years, right? Within, I'd say 15, 20 minutes of just the history tour walkthrough to show them where everything is. Not even really giving them the full history tour because that's part of the thing I do whenever the whole group gets there. Just walking through in the back area that Dan's actually talked about earlier where the church was being built. And they saw a little girl, and we see her all the time. You can hear her all the time. Saw a little girl run in the middle of the walkways and were so freaked out they had me call the police to sweep the building because they thought I was messing with them.
Oh, wow.
Because she was that clear. They sat outside for about an hour and a half before they finally came back inside the building. I guess like trying to figure out if they wanted to actually continue or not, because they both saw her just run back and forth. Had me call out the police,
awesome.
thinking I was trying to like mess with people.
I would love to.
That's awesome. That'd get me so giddy just to see that, but now I'll probably run the other way.
It's startling because they are so prominent. It's
You don't know what to say.
no, it's a whole different level of intensity.
What would you do if you were face to face with a full body apparition that you could see?
I do all the time. I love.
Maybe I'll stick my hand out for a shake.
I would probably
I'll go right through it.
Speechless, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You'd stumble over your words because you don't know what to say. Well, I mean, like, what would you be the first thing to say? You know?
I wonder how many people would actually like react by like pissing or shitting themselves. One of the guys in one of my groups, he's like, I almost just shit myself. I saw something go back and forth. I was like, well, I'm glad you're having a good time, but you're cleaning it up. Like, I don't do cleanup after grown ass adults. Like, and he was like, no, I'm totally okay with it. I understand. He was like actually shaking. Men get it the worst of it. It's so funny.
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do. I don't know about Dan, but Dan's cool, so.
Thanks,
No, I'm
buddy.
talking about the asylum in general. Men get it worse for some reason.
Dan would just be standing like, hey, let's grab a beer.
Yeah. No beer. I don't do beer. Just
Oh.
you know.
And you gotta have alcohol.
I would have a Chateauneuf de Pau, a nice red French wine.
You're so fancy. I totally pictured like a whiskey or bourbon gent, but he was like, the home blah 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 France.
I mean, I do like whiskey. I like bourbon. I like was just trying to.
You know he would.
You know what Nick got me addicted to? Not addicted to. Like I don't go like drinking. Like I need a shot of this right now. But it's stuff when I do drink. It's Screwball. Have you guys ever tried Screwball? It's like a peanut butter whiskey.
We had a bar here called Screwballs.
Did they?
So I bet you that was their specialty is Screwballs.
Peanut butter whiskey?
Yes, it's
Oh my
peanut
god,
butter whiskey.
so good. Yeah, it's so good.
And I've heard that it's really good. I am not a big peanut butter fan, so I have not tried it.
It's more like a cordial kind of in a way, but you can still taste the whiskey. It's sweet, flavorful. It's good.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
the problem
So
with
it's
whiskey,
dangerous.
It is.
I'd
It's
say.
dangerous.
the problem with whiskey and I is I will go after the biggest MFer in the freaking room if I get on whiskey.
No whiskey for
Are you
Cynthia.
on the whiskey, Cynthia?
Whiskey and I we're not friends.
Oh boy, what about tequila?
We're not gonna go
No.
there.
I'm fun on tequila. As long as you don't make me mad, I'm very fun on tequila.
I'm happy on tequila.
All right, guys. Since we hit the hour mark,
Oh boy.
Dan, before we wrap
Yeah.
up, will you want to throw out your social media, where people can find you, where people can find information on the Hinsdale House for us?
Yeah, it's danielklaes.com. All of my links are up there for the house, for Hinsdale House, Wildwood Sanitarium, events that I'll be at. It's all under one umbrella, so just danielklaes.com.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure we got that in before you did your wrap
no.
up or anything.
Thank
And
you.
thank you.
This was a very cool episode here, if I say so myself. And for further more on these questions of spirits, we're going to have a follow-up episode tonight. And Ashley, would you like to give that up?
No.
Now.
You guys, stop that shit. You're going to hurt your back.
I know, I'm trying.
I love you. Go ahead and check out the RU Media Facebook page. You can also catch it on YouTube if you want, but Facebook runs way smoother nowadays. It's at 7:30, so in about 30 minutes, you guys can catch us live, and we shall continue about spirits and basically everything else in between because we have a lot more time on our show.
Sounds good.
It's good.
Dan?
Yeah, I will see you guys there. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it will. Any last thoughts, anybody?
I hope everyone has a great week because this year seems to, well, the past 2 years have just seemed to be, but for some reason, the past few weeks just seem even worse for everyone. So I hope everyone feels loved and safe and praying and sending good love to every single one of y'all.
Yeah, I'll say extra prayers for the country of Haiti and everybody over in Afghanistan right now that wants to flee, that can't get out. It's just heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
And all of the fires, literally all around the world. Basically, half of the world is on fire right now. We have Africa, Greece, Italy, Canada, parts of the U.S. So just keep praying as a collective because the world we need more love and more understanding with one another as a whole.
That big-ass water plane to drown it all.
Yep.
But
Something.
anyway, well, thank you guys for this great episode. And we'll return next month with a different subject. So with that, I bid you guys all adieu and see you next time.
Night.
Good night.
Night.